Stargirl, The Lost Children, issue 5. Geoff Johns writing with Todd Nuck on the art. So yeah, we had the big reveal last time of Our Man being seemingly the villain behind things. We have all the sidekicks fighting all the various bots and stuff outside. There's kind of like a roll call 2-page spread where you get all their heads and names across the top and the bottom.
Also, a bunch of new characters that were clearly in the jail side of things, who I did not recognize. So that was nice.
I don't think it's important to remember all these names. I think the first half dozen are probably all you really need. But
yeah, but the fact that they added them in there, so when you see them later breaking out with Boom and Emmy, I thought that was nice.
Yeah. So the big thing is the fight doesn't go well for too long. They end up most of them getting captured by these robot egg things that we know capture the kids. And the few that are left, which includes Stargirl and a few of the other notable ones, are still trying to fight and storm the castle, as it were. Meanwhile, Our Man's making sure that Boom is still around. Like, where's Boom? Where's Jay Garrick's daughter? And meanwhile, Judy Garrick is talking to Emmy, and Emmy basically says, "Hey, like the other Flashes taught your dad to do this thing where he like vibrates his molecules through things." And as soon as she starts telling all this, I'm like, "What's the joke they always do when they're teaching a new speedster how to do this? What always happens instead of it working?" And sure enough, Judy ends up blowing a giant hole in the cell wall, and almost knocking out Emmy. But,
which I love that as a Flash gimmick, but also the fact that I don't think Emmy knows that, right? Because she hasn't been around them enough to know, like, when they first start, that things blow up. So just the surprise of it to her too.
Oh sure, yeah, it makes sense.
Really well.
It makes sense that she wouldn't necessarily predict the failure of it. Yeah. So and still useful. I mean, she might use this in a fight next issue.
Well, it got her through the wall regardless.
Yeah. It worked well enough. Blue Beetle sidekicks there, Whiz Kids there, there's a bunch of other ones. Although, actually, there was a really nice moment here, actually, with Dynamite, who was the old guy they were tracking earlier, of course, who's now young again. That's kind of an important plot detail.
That's who brought Courtney's awareness, right?
Yeah.
He's the one's like, I remember.
He was the old man who they were looking into, who was investigating everything. But he's reverted back to being a kid on the island for whatever reason. But there's a really sweet moment here where Emmy says, "Oh, hey, you're Dynamite," and he actually has a tear in his eyes. He says, "You know who I am." There's this idea that these characters have all been forgotten. So just seeing one of them get emotional that someone even knows who they are is kind of sweet. So so you got Emmy leading the team of rebels inside. And they end up meeting up with Stargirl and her team. It's very nice, actually. There's like a full-page spread. Well, actually, no, the first one's not a full-page spread, but Stargirl's is a full-page spread with her team. Emmy gets like most of a page with her team, a couple of pages before that. So there's a nice kind of like equal quality to it. And they hug amidst everything. And then it cliffhangers quite quickly with Our Man showing up. Although he does say, "I'm the only one who can save these children from complete oblivion." Or obliteration, I should say, which does make you think that maybe it's not an evil thing, maybe ultimately he's doing this for a good reason.
Yeah. I mean, because this is the Android version, right? So we got that confirmation because he says my creator, right? And so, so it makes you wonder if being that with his time travel, the fact that he's from the 853rd century, right, in DC 1 million, wondering if he's taking them to like a time point type place, like Vanishing Point, and I don't know what the end point would be, because again, when they washed up on that island, there's all of the sand, right, from Our Man's clock, from his hourglass, so I'm wondering what if this was meant to be the staging area, but if that's the case, why would he have to make a deal with Childminder, so there's definitely more layers to this.
It definitely feels like there's something else to find out in the last issue to really explain what's going on.
The other big moment I liked was Courtney's self-awareness here, to where like she might be in over her head, like her mom and Pat, were kind of right that she was going off half-cocked and wasn't ready for something like this, so that learning moment as all of these kids are getting captured, and that she bears the responsibility for that. I like that moment a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a pretty quick read this issue, and it's pretty straightforward. Because like last issue was the one that was burdened with all of the exposition with Corky and like all the timey-wimey stuff. This issue was a bit more straightforward.
God, and then him just going off like as all the kids are getting captured, he's like, yeah, this has to happen, kind of.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what the hell, dude?
We've got to lose a few soldiers to win the war, kind of mentality, which it's a bit cold, but in the end, may all work out. So, curious to see what happens with all these. I mean, a lot of them will probably go back to the Golden Age, so it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But just curious to see how it affects history when everything is, presuming that everything's fixed at the end of this and that everyone's sent back. Like, if that affects anything present day in the DCU in any meaningful way, would be interesting to see.
Well, and they kind of teased it with Wing, because we know that Wing got pulled out in an explosion, right? And that's why Courtney's worried about him going back to his time, because essentially you're sending him back to die. So, like, what is that going to mean? Is he maybe the key to this, being that he was like one of the first sidekicks, so I wonder how that's going to play out, because as we learned from Booster, like, there's parts of the DC universe that are concrete, right? That can't be changed. Is that one of them? Is he just always fated? Or is he the catalyst that's going to lead to them being able to, remember these heroes? So, because of his existence. So, but yeah, no, solid John stuff. I'm him playing with the legacy characters, and Judy. Definitely want to see what's gonna happen with Judy. She's a pretty big. That's a big gambit to throw, Jake Erickstotter out there.
I mean, Judy's the one that feels like if any of these kids is going to stick around in any other book, that she could show up in the Flash. If she ends up back in the real world, it would make sense if she does. But yeah, all right, not too much to say on this one. What are you giving the issue, Matt?
7.5.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, not quite great, but pretty solid, fun stuff.